going on, people? We right back with another one, man. We right back with another one. Hey, Terence Crawford, Errol Spence. It's around the corner, man. But hey, man, check it out, man. I was talking with the homies, man, and we was going back and forth yesterday in a group chat for like 5-6 hours, man. We was just going back and forth. Man, this fight is big, man. It's big. Like, when you can do that, just go back and forth about a fight for hours and don't get bored, you know what I mean? That's how you know you got a great fight on our hands, people. But check it out, man. We was in there talking about, you know, if this fight was a war and who it favors and all that. And me, I'm riding with Errol Spence in the fight. I got Errol Spence winning the fight. And I think he's going to beat Terence Crawford, you know? But I feel like Errol Spence should not fight a war with Terence Crawford. Just back and forth exchanges and just really try to exchange with this dude. And I say that because Terence Crawford, that's his game. That's what he like to do. Terence Crawford, he like to throw in between your combinations, and when it's just an aggressive type of fight, you know what I mean? Terence Crawford, that's his game, you know what I mean? He catch you in between your shots, and he knock you out. That's how he win. And I be seeing a lot of Errol Spence fans and people that's riding with Errol in the fight thinking that that's how Errol Spence is gonna beat Terence Crawford, but I disagree, man. I think Errol Spence is the better boxer out the two. Errol Spence is more fundamentally sound, and he's the better boxer. So I think Errol Spence should box Terence Crawford. I think he should be aggressive and get on the inside of Terence Crawford, but don't just sit there and go to war Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearn style. You know, so and a lot of people get it confused and think Errol Spence gonna win that type of fight because he's super aggressive in his fight, but Errol Spence is very calculated. He very calculated with his approach and how he get on the inside and just everything that he do, because he's winning the positioning battle and he putting his opponents in compromised positions. That's how he fight. He's not a slugger. He don't just get in there. I mean, he do that at times, but majority of the fight, Errol Spence is controlling the fight. He's controlling his opponent, and he's controlling what's happening in the ring. He's controlling when and how the action is taking place. You know what I mean? Terence Crawford, he's a fighter. That's his whole mentality. Terence Crawford want to fight with you. You know what I mean? So I just don't think Errol Spence can win a slug fight with with Terence Crawford, because he's the bigger fighter. He's the more disciplined fighter. Got the better defense out the two. So he can win that type of fight, but that just make it a closer fight than what it needs to be. If Errol Spence boxed Terence Crawford, he can beat him. And just set everything up off the jab. He can beat Terence Crawford just on, you know, just being a smarter fighter. I mean, I ain't gonna really say, yeah, I will say the smarter fighter. I just feel like Terence Crawford, once he get into that dogfight type of mentality, he don't become a boxer no more. You know what I mean? He just throw his whole game plan out the window. He ain't trying to box with you. He just trying to slug. And he's a very instinctual fighter at the same time. So in the midst of the action, when they going back and forth, his instincts can kick in and he can catch Errol with that type of fight, especially with that not being Errol's type of fight. Errol don't fight like that. Errol is not somebody that's just going in there and just dogging it out with you. He did it with Sean Porter, but Sean Porter is not as dangerous of a counterpuncher as Terence Crawford. So that's not keeping his chances of winning at the best percentage. You know what I mean? So, man, listen, if Errol Spence, like I say, if Errol Spence get in here and box Terence Crawford and stay behind his fundamentals, he can win a slugfest. He can win that type of fight too, but he has to be very composed with doing it. He has to be very composed and he has to make sure that he's not just slugging, you know what I mean, just going out, y'all just trading shots on each other. He has to be very calculated, like in the Lamar Peterson fight. The Lamar Peterson fight, it was a dog fight, but it wasn't just an all-out war type of dog fight. It was, Errol Spence was calculated. He was making sure he was on balance when he was throwing his shots. He wasn't, you know, just being defensively irresponsible. You know, he was very calculated in the exchanges. And if he could do that, and he never strayed away from his jab in the Lamar Peterson fight. So if he do that in the Terence Crawford fight, he can win that type of fight. But he has to be very composed, and he got to be really more defensively than offensively, because that's Terence Crawford's game. His game is to punch right in between your shots. So if you being defensively irresponsible, he's gonna find timing, and he's gonna take risk and punch in between your shots. So that's just how I see it, man. I think a war and just a Hagler-Hearn style is making the fight closer than what it needs to be for Errol Spence. So my suggestion for Errol Spence would be the box, man. To be the box, get on the inside, be very calculated, and work on the inside, and just dominate Terence Crawford just like he dominate everybody else on the inside. Because when you get in the inside, Errol Spence is the best inside fighter in boxing. He got away with his head positioning. He know how to pin your arms. He know how to frame you on the ropes. He knows in the inside, man, his inside game is beautiful, man. He knows how to work in that inside. And he knows how to put you in position where he wants you to be. And he knows how to position his head, his arms, his shoulders. And he just work on you. And that's when he really get off the best of his body work. So that's how I feel like he should fight, man. And don't just get in here and slug with this dude, because you giving him that puncher's chance to win, and he's better at it than you at that type of game. Errol Spence is not that type of fighter. He's not a just going in there, not having a jab and just y'all trading hooks and trading uppercuts and doing all that. He don't fight like that. Terence Crawford fights like that. That's the type of fight Terence Crawford won't. So why would I think somebody that don't fight like that will beat somebody that's his type of game? You know what I mean? But that's just my thoughts on it, man. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm gone.